short video, I want to give you an introduction to a new set of tools and reports that we're making available under the heading or the brand that we're launching called FedPipeline, and that we're making available for instant sale and download on our new e-commerce store. And our goal with these reports is to organize the data and give you some search tools that will allow you to uncover some insights into the markets that you're serving, find new places that you can talk to your customers about services, and really understand not only how your customers are spending money and putting things on contract, but how you can team, partner, and compete with your friends in the marketplace. So let's start with the Department of Health and Human Services. What I'm going to do first is just walk through the fields that we have and the data table. Then I'm going to show you how we can use Excel pivot tables to uncover the information we're looking for and really answer questions that we have about what's going on in this department. So quickly, we have a number of columns, well over 24. Let me just walk through them briefly. And these are the same for each department. All these reports are the complete 5-year contract list across all NAICS codes for the entire department, both large business and small business. So we have award ID, that's the contract number, we're all familiar with that. If it's on an IDV is indefinite delivery vehicle, that is the next column. Sometimes we have solicitation ID. Oftentimes these are not posted to FedBizOps or to BetaSAM, but when they are and we have that information, we include it. The award type, purchase order, BPA call, delivery order, there are multiples here, and we have filtered all these so that you can also do some selections here. What type of pricing was used? Fixed price, cost plus, labor hour, time and material. When was the solicitation posted? When was the contract signed? These date values, I think, are self-explanatory. We have calculated in column L, we have calculated the contract duration and displayed it for you in months so that you can do some easy extended calculations based on duration. Base and all options value is the entire contract award amount. And then we give you the vendor name, the vendor cage code, a link to that vendor's record on BetaSAM so that you can do some further research on that vendor. And then a couple of very cool calculation columns in columns Q and R that integrate the contractor entity databases. So is this vendor still qualified as a small business for the NAICS code of this particular contract? You can see we have some that are yes and some that are no. So this will help you understand if a small business set aside is held by a vendor who can no longer compete as prime. You might find that interesting in your capture work. Is the vendor a current member of the 8A program? So what we've done is that we have created a table of vendors who are in the 8A program, and we have their program expiration date. So we're able to tell you if an 8A set-aside is held by a current or a past member of the 8A program. If it's a GSA contract, we tell you what it is. So in this case, it's a mass contract. If the major program is listed in FPDS, we give you that. And then the name of the agency, the name of the funding office, the name of the contracting office, an agency that procured the work, where the state in the union where the principal place of performance is, as well as the product service code. So if you've not looked at product service code, really encourage you to look at that in addition to NAICS code as a great indicator of where the work is that you're performing. Look at product service code. It's a great tool, and we can talk about more of that later. The description of the requirement for that contract. So this is input by the contracting office, and so we give you that information. How was it competed? Was it full and open? Was it a set aside? And then what solicitation procedures were used? Simplified acquisition, multiple award, only one source, a number of things here for you to explore in terms of how the government acquired this contract. Was it a small business award? In this case, you can see line 20 of this particular table. We have a small business award that was an 8A sole source. It was not posted to FedBizOps, and they only received one award. And so it would be interesting to explore that and see what the possibilities are there for recompete. Were simplified acquisition procedures used? How did the contracting office determine the vendor's size? And then for every line item in these tables, you will find a link to the page on USA Spending so that you can do some additional research. In this particular table on HHS, we have 183,000 rows of contract data for you to sort through. Sometimes we have a link to BetaSAM. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Where we do, we give that to you. And then we have a calculation column here in terms of, is this an active contract or is it not an active contract? So that you can see things that are ongoing, and these are calculations that we've done based upon the dates that are posted with this contract. So that's a quick tour of the spreadsheets that we have, and then I want to just very quickly show you the pivot tables. So we've configured these pivot tables with filters at the top, the funding office, and then the sum of the contract value down here. You can change those by grabbing more fields. So if you wanted to look at vendor name instead of funding office, you could drag this down here and then remove this field, and then you could see the name of the vendor. You could then potentially drill down and limit that by a particular set of NAICS codes if you desired. And then you could change the signed year and see contracts in a particular fiscal year. So that's just a quick view of these pivot tables. We can talk about pivot tables more in a future episode, but this is very exciting stuff here. A couple of quick things that I've done just to give you an illustration of the value we can get out of these reports. In this pivot table, we've selected all agencies within HHS. We've looked for definitive contracts that are 8A sole source signed in the year 2016. So these might be coming up for recompete potentially. And you can see here there are $429 million worth of 8A sole source contracts signed in that particular year. If we change that year, let's potentially go to 2017, we can see 371 million. And so we're starting to see some consistency there year over year in terms of 8A sole source. Again, 351 million in 2018. Let's look at 2019, 482 million, even more. And so one of the cool things about Excel pivot tables is you can double click. So if you are in the FDA or the CDC and you're interested in those contracting offices, you could double click on this value. Let's look here in the CDC Office of Acquisitions. They let $305 million worth of 8A sole source contracts. So let's double click that and let's go look and see what that tells us. So we get 116 rows worth of contract data for that fiscal year that were 8A sole source contracts. And if we just scroll over and look here, we could then filter down and say we just want to see those where the vendor is no longer a member of the 8A program. We could then look at the contract duration. We could see when these expire, and we could then add those to our pipeline. We could look up these vendors using this column P, the vendor links, and then we could also go do some research using USA Spending. We can see active and past contracts. And this is all within a particular NAICS code as well, so you can filter those based upon what your capture strategies are. Again, we have reports. Just follow the link in the post that you'll find this video in, and you can pull reports for other departments. We're offering discounts if you buy 5 or more, and of course the bundle is at a significant discount. We'll be doing additional tours of this data into next week and showing different departments, as well as showing you how you can answer specific questions that relate to your pipeline and to your capture efforts. We hope you find these useful. Please post your questions and comments here on LinkedIn on this post. Let us know the questions you're asking. Let us know the data you'd like to see, and we will create those reports and show you how we can help you grow your business in the GovCon market.